So you guys did Halloween last night, right?
Nah, I just played NTW. I can't be asked. I'm 15. It's be a bit weird for me to go out, wouldn't it?
I literally just threw on a couple flannels and a scarf, and I said sure.
Bro,
the dumb thing is that two people in a row came up to me. He's like, "Is that Harry Potter?" And one said, "Nice costume." So I obviously did a good job.
Nice wash is that? A nice costume, bro. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Oh, the one thing that drives me nuts is that I keep getting is that Harry Potter.
Is that Harry Potter? I do have.
What is this music? I thought this was fantasy.
Man, oh, I forgot. I have Probot constantly muted.
Oh.
Bro, what is this? It sounds like freaking Star Trek, man.
I know. I found it is fantasy free, no copyright fantasy music.
Man, just get some copyright music. Nobody will care.
Right, YouTube will care.
How?
God.
If you know what that means, I mean your opinion on my cave. Bro, this is jazz, man. What the hell? Now I'm gonna find you some good music. Don't worry.
Make sure it's copyright free, because I'm just gonna go to my synthwave.
I got you, mate.
I like jazz.
Jazz. Do you like jazz? Just telling you.
Alright. What should the intro be? I just keep hearing the Jimmy Here intro. That's all I keep hearing in my head. What is up, my gamers?
Welcome back, guys, to another Minecraft video. Today,
what's the Stoneworks intro?
Talking over my
Gemini
backstory.
Smasher said, "What's up, my dudes?"
It's not Wednesday yet. It's not Wednesday.
It's not Wednesday, actually, it's Tuesday. Yeah. Anyway,
actually, when we record this, because we're probably gonna have to record part 2 tomorrow, we should definitely do it's Wednesday, my dudes.
Am I gonna be in this recording?
Yes, that's why we're all here. This is a story of Dell, Airis, Dalatrani, in the Stoneworks Minecraft server in the world of Rathnir. But before we get into that, we're gonna get into today's video sponsor.
Oh.
This video is sponsored by the Stoneworks Minecraft server. It's not really, but I'm just giving them a plug-in.
Gemini Smasher said, "Raid Shadow Legends."
Oh my
Oh.
god. Oh. This is so stupid. Anyway, this video is sponsored.
Now I think this is pretty good.
This video is sponsored by the Stoneworks Minecraft server. Here in Stoneworks, you can play on either worlds of Rathnir or Eldham and create your own stories, your own nations, your own lores, your own pretty much anything. If you want to create a story and a life for your character, you can do it on Stoneworks. I'm just making this up as I go for this plugin. I'm not even being sponsored. I just felt like plugging in the server. But the link to the server and its IP will be in the description down below. A link to the Discord will also be down below. But other than that, let's get back into the story. Shut the f up.
Gemini Smasher said, "I just broke into someone's house."
In the world of Rathnir, Dell, Airis, Dalatrani would be born, not from another person, created from the world itself. From the forest of Rathnir's most southern point in what was the Empire of Aldorash. That's gonna be a sound effect I'm gonna have to post. Dell's physical form was a strange one compared to those of the other fantastical creatures of Rathnir. Yet,
Wasn't art. You know what? I don't think I'm helping. I think I might head out now. I think that's you're not really helping it.
You're gonna help in a few moments. Just stop doing all. He had long curled hair that was the dark red of a bleeding moon, and but one strand buried in his head of hair was light blue for reasons no one knew. His eyes
There's only
were...
one strand. Nobody could see that. I mean, just being honest.
It's there for lore purposes. We'll get into that later.
Is it that's when he plucks out his blue hair and he goes absolutely livid and becomes a corn berserker? Hoorah! No. Damn it. Alright.
His eyes were that of nightly campfires blazing. The clothes he bore were plain and simple, with green leather leggings and shirt, and a grey wool tunic and a long brown coat. What made Dell really different from the other lives?
Mr. Laser 500 said, play our sound effect.
We didn't. Nothing, don't worry.
What made Dell really different from the other life forms was his pale blue skin. Skin the color of a river lit by the full moon. Being an elf-like being, he had elf ears on either side of his head. Oh my gosh. In the color of the river lit by the full moon.
Gemini
Like how I already read this.
said, what the
Be I haven't even gotten through the first paragraph yet. Being an elf-like being, he had elf ears on either side of his head. I could hear a leaf fall from 300 yards away. He had a nose like that of a wolf. He wore no shoes, and his footsteps were as light as feathers but as quick as rabbits. For most of Dell's early life, he spent in the woods, listening, learning, and loving all that grew around him. Once he made it to the age of 15, he began to journey to the more densely populated places in Alderash. He began to dislike the lack of nature, and feeling the fact that an eye was on you every moment. He one day found a library in one of the cities, though he couldn't remember which one. And he began to find a love for history of Rathnir, especially in military history. He found a longing to journey to places farther north of Alderash. Most of his teenage years would be spent in an outpost somewhere in the Empire of Alderash. Ages 16 through 18, he would spend working at the outpost, but eventually decided to leave and seek those places he had read about. He would find himself journeying to the very far north of Rathnir to what was then the Kingdom of Visteria. It was known then, now the Kingdom of Dalatrani. During his time there, he saw the empire he had been living under fall in the Bardonian conflict, also known as the Golden War. He would also build the Dunavel watchtower in the capital of Visteria. He joined the army, looking to rise the rank. Things were looking good. When his beloved Asteria reformed in the Dell area, then the king died. This sent him to spiral once again. Decided to do what he always did when he was lost. He looked for the wilds to tell him his next step. Spent a good long time away, but coming back, he decided to pick up a book on the Trillion War. He fell in love with the story of Dalatrani and her sad downfall, and he wondered. He wondered, would this be his next step? Journey to Ardat Mosul. The journey to Ardat Mosul was a huge step in Dell's life, as it would have been one of the largest journeys he would ever take from his home in far north, all the way to Ardat Mosul, then to the capital of Yama'adal, or New Arak. We would see so many sights of people and peoples long gone. These stories are taken directly from the diary of Dell Airis. I leave Dalaria and begin my journey across the world to see the great site of Ardat Mosul. I will end it in Arak. I say goodbye as this was my stepping off point, but I feel my heart belongs to Yima'adul. So I say goodbye and journey around the world. Hope I don't get along or die. Signed, Dell, Airis, Dalatrani. I've made my way through 3 great seas, passing the sights of Bardonia, Sea Tortuga's most northern point. I now pass through the great city of Tolhatal, and then south to Loendia. I cannot, however, simply pass through the historic city and ignore its importance to one of the great powers in Western Rathnir, and with great history, I might add. I must move on, though, south, which I will then turn west. Make it to the west coast of Huidka. Hope to then ride the coast to Ardat Mosul. For those from Huidka, I've passed through many cities in my recent days of travel, but the Huddle will hold a place in my memory for as long as I can still remember, or until I return. I've reached my turning point, so I turned southwest and began moving to the west coast of Huidka, or what was once the Great Nation. It would be a few days before I realized that the Great Nation had collapsed. I gave a long wave behind me as I realized I was the last person to see Huidka. I continued to the west, and once I reached it, I followed the coast by boat until I came upon Lux. From there, I turned directly east and began journeying across the mesa. Lines of ghost towns scattered the land. For a while of walking, I found some roads that led east, the first time I could follow a road. From there, I knew I was close, and under the cover of the moon, came up to the city's walls of Ardat Mosul. A city with too much history and beauty to be absorbed in one visit. Their great halls, hotels, farms, and houses I couldn't see enough of. I even found Carpicius' house, and followed the stairs up further, went to see the bathhouse. Walked by it 3 times before I found it. Inside, end of the hall, I found Dalatra's personal quarters. I went inside. A slightly heavy feeling began to press on my shoulders. I then made my way back to the downstairs. As I had seen a set of stairs leading down, I believed it was the bathhouse. It was. Climbing down, a feeling of my shoulders became heavier and heavier. As the walls turned to quartz, walking down the hall, at the bottom of the stairs on the right was the baths. The feeling became heavier, and this time, dread and sadness began to come over me. Entering the room, entered very slowly till I reached the back. Here it was. The pool where Dalatra spent her last moment. I dared not touch the water. The sadness became so great that I rushed back out of the room. I cried for a while. Then when my sanity returned, I went back in. In the water, I placed my iron sword, as I had nothing more of value. And then stepped back and said aloud, "This is the place where great sadness occurred, but now I leave what I can to say shall be met." After Airis, Dalatrani had finished his day in Ardat Mosul, he once again made his way east to the sea. Once there, he took a ship and crossed. After a couple of days, arrived on the shores of the Imperium. Once again, he followed the roads and maps until he reached the capital of Yima'adul, or now Arak. Settling in, he found himself right at home, and was even approached by the religious leaders of the Yima'adul's main faith, the Hogashavad, and became a priest. Being that the deserts of Yima'adul were much warmer than the cold north, he decided it was time for a change of clothes. His new outfit included a black robe, bright golden sleeves, and a golden necklace with an emerald at its center. Dell wore no shoes. Meanwhile, south of Arak was the town on the verge of abandonment. The town lay just north of the Astilian Sea. The town was called Dulak. This town was almost built as a joke, as yes, was the castle from Shrek. When Dell heard that the town was in search of a new owner, he pondered it for a while. Thought it would be a good way to increase his nobility in Yamato. He also believed he could one day build a good trade between other nations and earn a rock. Before he jumped at the opportunity, he was given ownership of the town. Like that, Dell went from being a traveler, foreign land, to a noble baron of Yamato. Dell spent many months in Dulac. Though he struggled to get anyone to join the town, he kept working at the tower. At the time, Yamato was under the Centurion Empire. He had always dreamed of seeing Yamato free again. But even though he thought this, he would soon find out not all shared his ideals. Diary of Dell, Airis, Dalatrani, 25. News has come to my ears, all during the previous few days of new nations being. The AIU, Imperial Archelon Union, lost much of its territory. So many nations have gained their independence, and just today, Ardonia, in the Imperium, has gained its. We sit in the midst of a time great powers of Rathnir are bleeding. Great nations that once had their banners hidden under another, get to wave theirs freely. It is a sign of pride to have an independent nation. The people of Yamato are not willing to raise their own flag. They have become weak because of it. Inactivity plagues their lands, and their military is all but extinct. Not being forced to rely on themselves has caused this, and because of it, my favor for my home has waned severely. A nation that was once the crown jewel of the world, hundreds have traveled to see her. Now nothing more than one can relate to a dying old woman, weak to lift herself from her current position. This has caused me to have great thoughts about my next step. Dell grew to dislike the way the people of Yamato had treated her. A nation, probably one of the richest histories in all of Rathnir, led to rely on others for her own security, economy, etc. His frustration would continue until he needed to once again retreat from society. Montanian Adlad War. Diary of Dell, Airis, Dalatrani. I have been resting in the forest for a while to think about what I should do. I'm back to find that I have been removed from the mayorship of Dulac, a part of new changes of the governing cities. They irritated me, but not by much. But the news has reached my ears that a city in the Estalian Sea, the city of Cordania, is trying to peacefully become independent from the now Empire of Sertaria, of which Yamato is forcefully a part of. I know what my next step is. I have pledged my services to the freedom of Cordania to bring a blow to the weak Yamato. She no longer stands for what I moved there for. Their leaders would rather have some other powers carry her. My true hopes is for the freedom of the people of Cordania, and one day the Adol people will wave their own banner once again. They will join the ranks of the Cordanian army and offer his knowledge of strategy towards the cause. The Cordanians only had a week of preparation for Yamato, their allies of Galadon and Azaria, would invade. Before even a shot could be fired, the Yimmies backed down. Yamato had no city that could compare with Cordania, but they couldn't declare war. Some say that Dell had a hatred for Yamato, but that idea could be further from the truth. He loved Yamato. This was such history in the world of Rathnir. Cities brought beauty into the barren deserts. But that is why he moved there, for the history. But the history he had read about was long gone. And the Yamato he moved to was far from what he had read about. That is where his dislike for the current nation grew from. But always he believed Yamato, the one he read about, could be brought back. But it was. Diary of Dell, Airis, Dalatrani, N-11-20. Great news has reached my ears. as I love longed here, the Yemeni have decided to once again raise their own flag proudly. Now the question truly is the governing forces, which has relied so heavily on other nations to support, can they keep their nation afloat? At last, Yemeni is free. The last of the great empires has collapsed. Now I ponder. Free Yemeni was always my goal, and now that has happened, I seem to be lost without directions. I still wish to stay close to my friends, Cordania, and help them grow and finish my house. Once again, I feel the pull to make a new path. For people who haven't seen me, I've been gone for 3 months. Yes, it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video, and this is the first one I've been trying to upload. It might not be the best video, but I can guarantee I will start uploading more content, more things in the future, and I have a lot more planned for the later half of possibly this year. But this is my first step, of course, of getting back into the game. For a long time, but always have to start somewhere. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like it, then please leave a like below and leave a comment on possible other events you might want me to cover in the Stoneworks world of Rathnir. That'll be it.